Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the prison called life. And today we're going to talk about something very, very interesting. You see, you gotta understand that, I understand what's going on right now. I understand what's going on. And I've discovered a very, very dangerous truth that if I were to make a video about it, that dangerous truth, if I were to make a video about that dangerous truth, I might possibly get my channel deleted and wiped. Okay, so this will be like an introduction, to that truth. But man, you guys are gonna call me crazy. You guys, you're gonna be like, that MF, you know what, man? Nah, this is not it. I don't like this video. You can say whatever you want, right? But, I'm gonna talk about the truth, the way I see it. Some of you are gonna call me crazy and this is not logical, this is blah, blah, blah. But let me just tell you something, okay? I'll just say this one line. And that will be it. You are free to do your own research after that. You gotta understand that Satan is fucking real. I'll say it again. Satan is real. Okay? Someday, I'll make a live talking about this. Maybe not on this channel, maybe on the second channel, right? Because I don't want to get this channel, wiped out, because I've put in too much work on this channel. But one day we will talk about it extensively. Satan is real, and there are certain people who have made a pact with him, and they're running the world. And I'll leave it there. Satan is real. Now, let's get into the God of the Bible and why the God of the Bible is Satan, right? Just a few examples, and people are going to get defensive, especially Christians. You tell them, you actually read the Bible? No, I don't think you have. Because the moment you read it slowly without already deciding who God is supposed to be, things start feeling wrong, like deeply wrong. Like, why does this feel abusive, kind of wrong? Everybody has been trained to fear Satan, right? The Satan that we were told to fear, but that Satan doesn't exist. The Satan is actually the God of the Bible, Yahweh, the demiurge, as the Gnostics call him, and the Gnostics were right. So, the God of the Bible gets a free pass no matter what he does, right? Kill a whole planet. Oh, mysterious ways. It works in mysterious ways. Murder children. Oh, no. They deserve their judgment. When the God of the Bible demands blood, they say, no, that's love. Whatever. They make up crazy excuses. At some point, you have to stop gaslighting yourself. I mean, if we start at the beginning, Eden, God creates humans, right? Humans are curious by design. Then he punishes them for curiosity. Puts a tree in the middle of the garden and says, don't touch it. Then threatens death if they do. And when they eat it, they don't die. Instead, they become aware. Conscious, self-aware. So who lied? Because the serpent said their eyes would be open and they would see the truth. And they did. But God said they would die, and they didn't die, right? Yet the serpent gets labeled the deceiver for the rest of eternity, and God gets worshipped as truth itself, right? And now it reminds me of what Jesus said, and he said, you are just like your father, the devil.
Sold to the young couple in the front.
Yeah! A discounted rate for the life of your West.
Reminds me of what Jesus said, and he said, the deceiver for the rest of eternity, and God gets worshipped as truth itself, right? And now it reminds me of what Jesus said, and he said, you are just like your father, the devil, because in the beginning he was a liar and he was a murderer, right? And who has been murdering and lying across the whole Old Testament? It's been God, Yahweh, Jehovah. So who was Jesus talking about? He was talking about God. And God is the one who's been lying, murdering, right? So the devil is God. Do you get that or not? If that doesn't make sense to you, I don't know, right? I don't know. Look at the punishment, right? Not correction, not guidance, but instead, what did Adam and Eve get? Suffering, pain, labor, death. And not just for them, but for every human after them. Now, that's not justice, right? That's a ruler punishing disobedience and calling it righteousness. From there on, it just escalates, From there on, we are told to fear the Lord, not love him. They even go as far as to say that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Wrong, right? They tell you you gotta obey him or you suffer, right? You step out of line and watch what happens. You ask questions and then you get destroyed. That's not divine wisdom. That's control. This is a being who wants absolute control. Remember what one of the 10 commandments said, right? They said, do not worship other gods before me. So what does that mean? That means there are other gods, right? There are other gods. And of course, we've touched on the topic of the other gods. They don't really give a shit about us as the human race, right? Because all they do is just demand. But again, man, let me tell you something. You see, the thing with Yahweh, Jehovah, that guy is absolutely fucking real. I'm telling you, he is the one who has deceived all of us. You gotta understand that he's been cosplaying as a loving God, but what he really is Satan himself. He is the devil himself. That's what you gotta understand. If you don't get that, I don't know. And the jealousy thing, don't get me started. He says, I am a jealous God. But when you look in the Bible, jealousy is literally condemned everywhere else. If jealousy is said to be sinful and destructive. But when God says, I'm a jealous God, suddenly it's holy. Why are you as a God insecure? Why are you as a God jealous? Why? Does that seem like a loving God to you? Do you understand? Do you understand how crazy this is? Again, Satan is real. And there's a certain group of people who have made a pact with him and they are now running the world. If you're smart, you're going to get it. You are going to get it. You are going to get it if you're smart. But someday we will go deep into this, into the second channel. I can't promise you when, right? But this is the absolute fucking truth. And I have no doubt, even though I cannot verify it, right? But, I know it's the truth. I know it. I can feel it. I can feel it. Then we get violence, This is where people really start squirming. The flood. Let's just talk about the flood as an example. I mean, almost everything dead, right? Babies, animals, innocent people gone. Cities burned alive, Don't get me started on the firstborn children slaughtered because of Pharaoh, right? He slaughtered all the firstborn children of Egypt, right? Because of just one person. Now, who is that? A loving God? If you want to punish someone, why don't you punish the stubborn person? But you're going to punish everybody. That looks like somebody who's hungry for blood. That looks like a ritual sacrifice. And I talked about it, in the video, who's feeding on us. I made a video about it. I said, who's feeding on us? So if you actually listen to my messages, all the messages that I've talked about regarding the demiurge or Jehovah, it's been leading up to this absolute truth that I have, But I'm not ready to drop names. I'm not ready to go deep onto it because I'm scared. I'm scared that I might be actually hunted and brought down, or in fact just get my YouTube wiped out. I'm scared. I don't want that, right?
We believe your brake should actually be a brake. That's why RAC's mobile mechanic, tyre and back...
Right? Scared that I might be actually hunted and brought down, or in fact just get my YouTube wiped out. I'm scared. I don't want that, right? Because I'm telling you, man, this is it. This is the reason for all of our suffering. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, man, Satan is running the world. Even the Bible said it. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. You see, don't read the Bible from a religious perspective. Read it literally. Read it for the truth because it's got a lot of germs. It's got a lot of germs. A lot of valuable stuff is said there. Yeah. Oh man, you see, man, this is bigger than us, right? This is bigger than us. This is absolute bigger than us. Absolutely bigger than us. It's about power. It's about control, right? It's about one group of people running everything, right? You don't understand. You don't understand. If you're going to listen to this video and tell me that, I'm crazy, I've lost it, you don't understand. And what I've just said, I've already given you a lot. I've already given you a lot. If you're smart enough, you're going to dissect it. If you're smart enough, when I talk about one group of people who are running everything right now, you're going to know who those people are. And if you have background knowledge of the Bible, you're going to understand what the hell I'm saying. You don't understand. It's been a war. It's been a war the whole freaking time. It's been a freaking war the whole time. And we did not get it. We did not get it. It's been a war between the children of the saints and the children of the devil. It's been a war. You don't understand it. You see, you gotta understand, all of these secret societies, they've been worshiping Satan. You gotta understand that. You gotta absolutely understand that. This is a war. And you see, figures like Jesus Christ have been trying to enlighten us. They've been defeated. They've been defeated by these groups and their secret societies. You gotta understand that they've taken over everything and they inverted the world. They inverted the natural order of the world. Because that's the only way Satan can rule this place, as if the world can be inverted. Right? He's the adversary. He's the opposite. Right? And he's been wanting one group of people that he can use. If you read the Bible, he's been telling all of these figures that go and get my people. Go and get my people. And he's been trying to give these people instructions, and he's been trying to get these people to serve him, and he's been trying to get these people to make rituals for him so that he can grow stronger and stronger. You do not understand what actually is happening. And let me tell you, They finally succeeded. They did it. All of these wars that are happening is because of him. Satan and his group of people. It's because of him. Missing children, it's because of him. All of these bad things that are happening is because Satan is feeding on us. And that Satan is Yahweh, Jehovah, the God of the Bible. I won't mention what group it is again, but if you're smart enough, you know who it is, right? And I don't want trouble with any of them, right? I don't want trouble. But I'm telling you, this is exactly what is happening. They don't even hide it that much. They don't. All you gotta understand is history. All you gotta do is study history. Don't be close-minded. Don't be close-minded. That's my point. Don't be close-minded. Entire tribes have been ordered to be wiped out, right? He would tell his group of people, go and take over that land and kill everyone. The babies, the kids. What war right now is happening that's killing everyone? You think that's the first time in history that has ever happened? It's been happening. And it is framed as divine justice. And this group of people really think that they have the ultimate power to do all of that, right? Because they know who is instructing them. They know who they are backed by. If any human ruler did this, we would call them a monster, right? But, the Christians just want to believe, no, it's God, it's God. Meanwhile, this Satan, who barely has any role in the Bible, he gets blamed for everything. But actually, the real Satan, who's been lying to people, telling people that he wants what's best for them, is actually the real Satan. That's what people do not understand. That's what people don't understand. This figure of enlightenment called the serpent, right? He's the one that came and told Adam and Eve that, listen, you gotta eat that damn fruit, because if you eat it, you'll be enlightened and you'll understand what's going on, right? And it goes back to Jesus. Jesus said, be wise as serpents, right? So let me tell you, that serpent in the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, that serpent represented that Christ energy. You understand that? That's why Jesus in the New Testament said, you got to be wise as serpents, because a serpent is wise. This is big, man. This is big. This is big. And I'm telling you, it's been a war since the beginning. Those who know, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Someday we will go deep into it. We will go deep into why we're suffering so much in this matrix, in this prison, in this hellhole. Because they are feeding on us through numerous ways. If you just look at the story of Job in the Bible, that story alone should permanently destroy the image of a loving God. Job does nothing wrong, right? He's loyal, he's faithful, and God lets Satan, in quotation marks, Satan in inverted commas, Satan, he lets Satan wreck his life just to prove a point. His children die, his body is full of sores and it's rotting. His world just collapses and God just watches. People love saying Satan did it. No, he didn't. Your loving God authorized it. God set the boundaries. God signed off on every bit of suffering. If you read the story of Job, he told Satan, the fake Satan, go and do it. Just don't kill him. It was a bet. And what does Job get at the end? Replacement children. You just killed all of my kids and I have to get the replacement children? As if lives are just interchangeable. How the hell does that make any sense? Don't you see this is a freaking narcissist? This is a freaking psychopath? As if trauma just resets if you're given new stuff. Like, hey bro, I'm sorry for destroying all your 4 cars. You know what? There you go. Brand new 4 cars again. No, doesn't work that way. There's a connection with what I had. And you just took it away and you've given me these new cars that I absolutely have no connection with. That's what basically God did. Then there's the blood obsession. The blood obsession. You gotta understand this Yahweh, this Jehovah, he's obsessed with blood. Again, this is the reason why there's all of these wars going on. Sacrifice after sacrifice, animals slaughtered constantly, blood everywhere, and we're told forgiveness requires death. Later it becomes human sacrifice, right? Jesus had to be sacrificed on the cross, right? Right? You gotta understand, man, that the Bible is freaking history. Don't read it from a religious perspective. Don't do that. The problem is that this is history. It is documented history. Right? Don't be religious when you read it. It is documented history. I'm telling you now. You know, I wasn't wrong when I said God is evil. When I had those revelations 3 years ago, I wasn't wrong when I was saying God is evil. I wasn't wrong. You know, I wasn't wrong when I was saying that the God of the Bible actually behaves like Satan. I wasn't wrong when I said the God of the Bible is the demiurge. Even though, yes, I've read Gnosticism, but I've never went like too deep in where I've read like 10 books of Gnosticism. No, some of these things were just my own revelations, me observing things from just a logical perspective, and I could see the truth. And now I'm telling you, Satan is real. Now, you don't have to believe me. Of course you don't have to. But I'm telling you, Satan is real. And they've made a pact to him. And he's running the world right now. Right freaking now. He is running the world. He's the one throwing the shots right now. And he's using his people who have created these secret societies. And they use these societies to run the world. You know, if Satan is defined as the deceiver, the destroyer, you know, the ruler through fear, why does the God of the Bible fit that description better? Right? We've been sold this image of this Satan. We've been sold that there's a war between God and Satan. But there's only been one God. There's only been one Satan. There's never been separate individuals. That's what you gotta understand. There's never been God versus Satan. It has always been Satan cosplaying as God. Cosplaying as, and of course, right? He's a trickster, right? That's what we should expect, right? Of course, if I was Satan, I would pretend that I'm a loving God. Of course I would do that. It suits him. It suits him. We've been taught to believe that there's been Satan versus God, but actually it's been Satan pretending as if he is a loving God. And he's been fooling and deceiving all of these Christians. They do not understand what they're worshiping. This is why you find Christians who, the more they pray, the more they suffer. The more they pray, the more they suffer. I used to tell you guys, I used to be a freaking Christian. And the more I prayed, the more my life got worse. Why? Because this freaking thing was feeding off of me. That energy when I was praying, he was feeding off of me. And I was getting drained, right? Because I was praying to fucking Satan. Who punishes curiosity? Satan. Who rules through fear? Satan. There's one group of people that rules through fear right now. Think about it. Who demands loyalty under threat? Satan. Who kills indiscriminately? Satan. Who calls obedience love and questioning evil? Satan. Jehovah, 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 God, 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 Satan, 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 one and the same thing. You don't need secret knowledge. You don't need conspiracy theories. You just need to read the Bible without fear. And once you do, it becomes very hard not to notice that the being described as evil behaves a lot less like a monster than the one everyone calls God. And the one called God behaves a lot more like a monster, a lot more as evil. All you gotta do is just read the Old Testament. It'll all make sense to you. Don't read it from a religious perspective. Read it as if it is documented history. And your eyes will open. And compared to the modern world, your eyes will open. This is bigger than us. You gotta understand that. And someday I will go deep into it and describe the exact details of what exactly is going on. You know, probably I'll do that in the second channel. I don't want to risk getting this one wiped out, to be honest. That will probably be done in the second channel. This is DeadMF, and I'm signing out.